So I don't get the One Piece hype. Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be mixing it up, moving from a different book form medium to some manga, and I'm going to be talking about One Piece. I have slowly been making my way through One Piece, and I'm about 100 chapters in or so right now, and I have got to be honest, I just don't understand all the hype yet, and maybe I'm just way too far early in or something, I don't know. But let me give you just a little bit of background on my manga slash anime experience. I am by no means an manga anime expert. There are plenty of people who, that is their main form of entertainment and everything. I would definitely say I am like in casual intermediate, if that makes sense. Just for example, I have read some stuff like Vagabond, Vinland Saga, Berserk, My Hero Academia, Black Clover, what else? Dragon Ball, basically any of the big, Demon Slayer, any of the big like casual, what people would probably call manga, I have read. And I'm just preferencing all of that so that I'm not coming off as like, I just don't get manga or anime. I'm just not understanding tropes and stuff. I feel like I have a pretty decent feel for, how these series kind of go and what to expect out of them because, this isn't my first one. One Piece is definitely not my first experience into this genre. And I know I'm saying I don't get the hype. And it's funny, this is like my 100 chapter check-in. And for One Piece, I believe it is closing in on 1,100 chapters. So maybe 100 chapters isn't, a fair shake. But I felt like by this point I would be starting to at least, really be connected to it in some way. But maybe some of you big One Piece fans out there can let me know if I'm just making this video too early and just missing stuff, or I haven't got to the good stuff yet. Please, leave down in the comments and let me know. I know this is a super, super long story, so I guess almost, a little bit less than 10% of the way in. I don't get it yet. Now, this is not going to be just a completely negative video or, me not understanding the hype around One Piece. So before I get into some of the things that are not working for me or that I would like to see out of this series, let me mention some things that I do like so far. Some of this information is coming from things I've heard from people. I have some friends who are super into One Piece, and they're probably shaking their fist at me right now watching me make this. But so far, I can just tell that this world is going to be huge and expansive. Even just 100 chapters in, we have a small portion of the world explained to us at this point, and I just know that a lot is still yet to come. And that's exciting. I love world building. The more I learn about a world, the better. I like knowing what's going on in continent Y and X. That's one thing I did like about Game of Thrones and Westeros. You have all the different kingdoms, you have stuff happening across the narrow sea, and some stuff, like we don't even really get to see, but we get mentions to, really make the world feel large. Same thing with Wheel of Time. It's obviously an expansive continent there in Randland, and just getting to experience all the different kingdoms and stuff, that's great. And I think I will definitely get this out of One Piece just from some things that I have heard about the series. I'm very much looking forward to the pirate culture blending in with how the Navy reacts to them. I think those are, I don't know if the Navy is going to be like the antagonist or if we're going to get real villains that mix in with the Navy and there's this weird kind of like love triangle, but of our good guys, bad guys, maybe not bad guys. And so I'm really looking forward to kind of getting that explained a little bit more and kind of that relationship that goes on between the pirates and the Navy. We even in this first 100 chapters or so far the Navy hasn't really been painted in the best light, but also some people on some of the islands, I can't remember which one, on Nami's island, like wanted the Navy to come and help them. So I'm just kind of really interested in how that dynamic is going to work. And the last thing I'll mention that I do like in my first 100 chapters or so is it has that classic anime shonen charm of overcoming obstacles. In most of the big anime, manga that I have read or watched, there is the main character overcoming something again and again, whether it be learning a new skill or somebody, who's supposed to be like super overpowered comes in, and that power of like moving forward and everything always works for me. And it always ends up being in some like kind of display of power, which, anytime like a character flexes on somebody, it always really works for me. I always really enjoy those like level ups that happen in these kind of series. Now let me get into some of my negatives again, and I'll just start off with, in this first 100 chapters or so, everything before you get to like Arlong Park is completely forgettable, which I guess I'd have to look exactly, but somewhere between like 40 and 50 chapters. That whole first chunk of the story, I don't know. It just was really boring. I did not care. And I know that's like the setup of a story, but I don't know. It was gone. It's barely in there now. Once we got to the Arlong Park, kind of section, it started to sink in a little bit more. But man, up until that point, I was just like, why am I reading this? Why do people read? I couldn't understand. Once I got to the Arlong Park, I could kind of see some of it coming to fruition. But before that, it was pretty rough for me. So far, 100 chapters in, the characters are doing nothing for me. Luffy is okay. He's your generic Goku, Naruto kind of character, which is fine, I'm sure. And I know these characters are going to change a lot. I mean, it's such a long series. But, at this point, I figured I'd at least like one person. What's his name? Zolo is okay, I guess. He's fine. Nami, I don't really like, I don't know, she just seemed very unlikable. I just don't like her character at all. And then, gosh, don't get me started about Usopp with his stupidness. I wish he was not part of the crew. He just doesn't do anything for me. None of them really do. And so, this is going to have to go. I hear how much people love the characters and connect with them. So I don't know if I'm missing something. If, like I said, maybe 100 chapters is just way too early into the story, that it is such a slow burn that, most stories by this point have gotten to somewhere, and this just hasn't happened yet for One Piece. I'll also just mention that so far the devil fruit kind of concept, I don't know, that magic doesn't, I don't know, it just isn't doing anything for me. I can see how there could be so much potential, because it basically seems like Oda could just come up with something for anything, which it is nice, I guess. But, so far, I need to see it a little bit more. It's been kind of creative, but nothing like next world, nothing that I've expected from what people like put up on such a high pedestal. And, maybe it's, once again, please let me know if 100 chapters is, I'm just not there yet. And that's totally possible. But I would have thought by now that I would have gotten more of a hook than I have around what is the kind of magic of this world. I don't want to just keep talking about negatives, so I'm going to switch gears a little bit and talk about some things that I think I need out of the series going forward. And maybe some of you can tell me who have read this, if these are some things that I can get out of the series. I'm going to need a character that I love. I know this world has a lot of characters, but I'm hoping that some kind of development happens with either somebody coming into the crew or one of our main crew changing, or just, I don't know, becoming a little bit more charismatic, or, becoming something that I can really love. I need a character that I can attach onto to get through this series. It doesn't have to be Luffy, even though he, feels like our main character. It can definitely be a side character, but I need somebody that I'm going to love. That would normally be somebody who is very powerful, has a strong sense of like justice and doing the right thing. Those are the kind of characters that I normally really gravitate towards. So hopefully there's a character like that later on in the series. Talking about a character I love, I need a character I hate. I am going to need villains that come and stick around for a long time. Preferably, I would love like one big bad. Our overarching goal is to conquer, beat whatever, this one person, and then they can have like some generals and stuff, and we can work our way through that kind of structure. I mean, that's a pretty traditional structure when it comes to storytelling, but I need more than like monster of the week villains. 100 chapters in, we got Arlong, but it already feels like we're done with that. And maybe not. Maybe this is a character that comes back and we have another kind of thing with. You never know when it comes to manga, people always can come back. But, I need a villain who is despicable, and not just in a goofy kind of way, but like one who actually does like really horrible things. And it doesn't need to be like, I know One Piece is definitely kind of a fun series, so it doesn't need to be like super, super dark, but I need a character that I despise. I'm also going to need a little bit more of a plot. Right now it's really to get from point A to point B. But to do that, we have to hit like point A1, A2, A3. And I know like the main goal is to find the One Piece. That's like the whole point of the series, it's the name. But I need some plot and some progression to happen there. I don't even know what I want. I'm super open to whatever the author is going to do, but I just need something, because so far the story has been, go here, oh, we need this person for the crew. Oh, go here, we need this person for the crew. Go here, oh, we need this person for the crew. And yeah, I just need more than that. We got a little bit of plot with trying to, get Nami and all the stuff that happened with Arlong. But yeah, I I need something more than point A to point B, because this is such a long series and that will get old super, super fast. The last thing I will mention that I definitely need out of this series is going to be good fights. It doesn't even need to be the fighting itself, but when that conflict happens, I either need the build-up to be really good or the fight itself to be really good. So it can come in either one of those ways. And you know, I am definitely a fan of like the big spectacle. I've mentioned already in this that I like the big power up, the big flex on the enemy. Think Dragon Ball Z kind of style stuff, you know, going Super Saiyan. I love that kind of stuff. But it doesn't need to be that. It can literally just be like the build up to something happening. You know, two forces that we know are going to meet up and fight. That would work for me too. And I think that is probably something that happens in the series because it's such a big world and there's probably going to be so many characters, but that is definitely something that I'm going to need out of this series. So overall, I think this probably came off as a kind of negative video for you know, what I've read so far. And honestly, I have been kind of disappointed. You know, this is obviously a series that you hear so much about and how good it is. You know, you have channels dedicated to just One Piece, and you know, it just really hasn't hit the mark for me yet. And I am totally willing to accept that 100 chapters in is just not enough. So I think I am going to at least 100% commit to getting to chapter 250. I don't know where that puts me, if that's like in the middle of an arc or something like that. But if by chapter 250, I'm still kind of feeling underwhelmed and not really connected with anything, unless some of you can convince me to keep going and tell me that like, hey, it really kicks up around like chapter 325 or whatever, I'll probably tap out after that point if I still feel the same way. I'm hoping I don't. You know, this is a series that has kind of been on my bucket list, but it's just so long. And if you can't get me at 250 chapters, which is still a small part of this series, there's just other stuff out there that I gotta read, because 1100 chapters is a lot. And if you can't get me by 250, I just don't think it's gonna happen. The series just probably won't be for me. So it is what it is. But that is my overall thoughts on the first 100 chapters of One Piece. I hope it didn't sound too much like I was complaining, even though I kind of was. I do really want to like this series. If you guys have any tips or knowledge about this series, please let me know down in the comments, and have a good one.